Welcome everyone to today's, in the meantime, famous you can support open source work by just watching this video episode. Let's see, are we even live streaming? Encoding overload, consider tuning your video settings or using faster what? Since when do we get that message? So, where would that message come from? That was not there the last times. Or is it because we are actually maybe recording, huh? Yep, the more you live stream, the more goes wrong, because why not? Says 0 frames though. Or it's just heating up this amazing amazing Intel Core i7 aging silicon. Anyway, we have open source updates to do. The daily drill, you must know it by now. Just that we get here some overheating. By the way, why do we have OBS? This is also ridiculous. Actually we never have such an high OBS load. Why is this now? Each time you live stream something else goes wrong. Whatever OBS does not like today. Anyway, not happy with that result. Or is it because of our amazing Anyway, another live stream, not amazing. Welcome everyone in the audience. Slightly wondering what is up. Anyway, maybe let's try. So, update list, closed the email already. Of course, the usual stuff, daily Linux kernel. And for those who have seen yesterday's video regarding the driver, I probably should have commented that that this is driverless stuff with Virt.io. This is of course not something unlike something we have already for in regards to USB here, USB storage, human interface devices and such. So not something that would not exist in general, just something that does not exist in regards to PCI devices. This is why I probably could have pointed that out more precisely. Then Linux kernel, I said it already, I usually wait for the Linux kernel until the first point release for many good reasons. Already spent enough time the last 2 decades that I can let you test here the initial stuff. Also best with package name. So that is actually we missed there, turned 14. You see, I'm not making daily Linux kernel updates up. I missed here, so this is just, yeah, okay, 10th this was yesterday, this is 11th is today, so we are here on the forefront of breaking news. Just to be nice, I will package them here anyway. What is our encoder output? Really wonder why our encoder... Everything running as usual. Wonder how the audio and everything is anyway. So yeah, just to be nice, I will not even compile test those, that will take too long. I could be, didn't commit 13? Maybe too busy or something, didn't compile. So I will commit all of them just to have this here in case you want to revert to something. So 13. So you see, we are in the meantime with all the security vulnerabilities on daily Linux kernel updates. What are we even streaming here? In case we are something streaming. Not impressed by this random performance. Yeah, 14, let's just commit this. I hope they would mostly compile, but who knows. And one thing is we have set standard for the initRD, the higher compression, higher performance, higher compression ratio. So then 15, you see you can't even daily update the Linux kernel with latest security fixes on a daily basis. And then of course, here's the latest and greatest 1.1, and yeah, our update script is not intelligent enough for that. I need to do that another day. Let's also update this here. And let's hope that is loading. And then test compiling. So this is exceptionally maybe a little bit more work, especially as we have some set standard patch in there. Usually, I say it already so often, usually I don't keep patches for custom features and T2, but for that very specific thing, set standard is just too nice to have to test already. Something also tested already on Spark. Maybe even did I test no on Octane, not by Spark PowerPC. Maybe even HPPA, Hewlett Packard Precision Architecture. So it could very well be that our set standard patch will fail and then we need to rediff it. I hope not. Actually, there was talk last November or something to maybe get this upstream, but so far nothing came out of that. And while we wait for the recompression there, just to outline here further, wait a second, this is 15. Yeah, but even 15, yeah, so allow low-level atomic operations to return E again. And audio sock something, Bluetooth, fix empty regulator supplies for Intel Macs. Yeah, so not that such a high kernel number would be mostly bug-free. When you take a look on this changelog, this is why I more and more get the impression maybe microkernels would be amazing, because when you take a look at this latest and greatest fixes, and by the way, why does this compression take so long? Of course, it is hundreds of megabyte, I think even gigabyte nearly or something, and this is why even on a data center Xeon, this takes a while to recompress for our archive. And yeah, the same here, locking Vutex, and then i3C, this by the way, all the same what I've seen in the other stable kernels, so much to also wonder, is it really, maybe the Linux release schedule stuff should be slightly revised, because if you see all the work going into this patches here, all the same patches, maybe we should not have this long-term patches and just go there. Anyway, with a microkernel setup, this would not be such a drama. So let's see, restarting this, do we get here higher throughput this time, but it maybe looks like that. This time without data center VPN, whatever this, the Fox of the Night says, hey there. And what did we download? Did we, so here restarting somehow maybe fix this. Maybe it was SSH to the data center, who knows. But although it should not be, because OBS warns that the encoder output was low. So yeah, did you run download? I did run download. Why would that come up there? I have, wait a second, why does this, there's an extra dot in the patch that explains why. Certainly that didn't load. And also what we have to do in regards to the recurring PS3 fan stuff here is that we need to also do some P3 stuff sometime soon, because we have this storage patch for the P3 side of multi-regions, because when we run as GameOS, we have access to the GameOS partition, and for this there is a storage driver patched, and we most likely need to patch it again, I saw already. So this is when you maintain the patches at each kernel release, you may have to rebase and rediff them. So here I hope the slideshow is fixed. By the way, this also might mean that our internet became better after we complained so much to Vodafone. Let's run here some speed test while at it. And yeah, so let's see. By the way, I could have done this verbose, but we could also simply, this is reference. Let's follow this log here, and let's just double check here our live internet speed or not. It might drop some frames, but whatever, just to see what we are getting here. So even, oh, wait a second, I didn't switch the camera. That was super the most not clever. And yeah, so Comments in the audience, much better. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for telling me. Although, actually, wait a second now. Encoding overload. Now it says this again. Yeah, maybe Vodafone fixed something so much to the first support, its segmentation, and then in the forum it's written 9 to 15 months or what this was. Thank you for that, only because I was persistent and not accepting there. Besides, in my opinion, it would not have been acceptable to have 9 to 15 months questionable internet. But, and there you see fail. So what does fail? Hey, our decade-old PowerPC patch fails. That is some... Yep. Also surprised this is the IT87 hardware monitoring patch that the author has abandoned. And I wonder what fails. So I wonder that this still fails. So much you see other people as motivated as they are. Nobody takes a look there. So yeah, you see this light patch just comments out, you're not ready yet. Worked for me for decades, but although I reported this, still not in the Linux kernel. These are usually the most patches I would want. This failed. So yeah, this is how all the time is spent here and how you can support us. Watching this, learn something. Do we have hopefully... Oh, wait a second, I didn't debug already. So simply find reject and then let's see what is rejected there. Something changed exceptionally, didn't change in the long. Okay, wait a second, let's take a look in reject and see what... so not ready is this thing here around line 2059. Here a lot of stuff happened though. Interestingly, someone really did something. They've really done something. I wonder if that means that someone... Are we so lucky that someone... Anyway, I guess that means we probably don't need the whole patch, so the rest applies. Oh, wait a second, not ready yet. Let's see, Bluestone parent. Let's see if this... Oh, wait a second, why do we not have proper... the wonders of... this is the wonders of modern VI stuff. When all you wanted was text selection and all you got was direct mouse cursor support. Okay, Bluestone. But here, okay, here is indeed power management, reinitialize. So this is still there. So they touched the something. But they have not... Oh, I really hate this modern... I mean, who thought this was a good idea to bring native mouse support to VI? The only thing I've not asked for that was perfectly working fine. Yeah, this is really annoying. How can I disable this bloody mouse support? So this we still need. I wonder what was the rest of this patch then. And the same is going, by the way, for the PS3, obviously, for the storage there. And if you want to support this here, you can, of course, compile this yourself. So one of those, so this we need, and this maybe, so QW. I need to double check if this is still commented out though. M10, reinitialize. Of course, funny, I reported 15 years ago that this works and they said, no, it's not good enough. The only thing they broke in the meantime is that 3D doesn't work anymore. Yes. So it's not commented out anymore, just not called yet. So, okay, fine then. So this is what rediffing and rebasing means. Usually it takes way more time though. This was a rather simple one that we probably only can delete this one here, and I usually just, you see this is around since at least 2008, maybe longer. Depending how often it, by the way, blame log and see if someone touched this in the meantime. Okay, I rediffed this actually already for Linux 2.3.15 and here for 2.6.25. So yes, you see in 2008 this already worked for the G4 cube, which we actually also could take out. Then let's see if this compiles then again. And then probably if we wanted to be super over serious, we could test this on the G5 behind me here. But that is probably for another day, because this would take a whole afternoon, even cross-compiling it, or not, yeah, depending on what you define as an afternoon, how many hours of this. By the way, video is again not amazing encoding overload, but we surprisingly only have 34 drop frames, so maybe Vodafone really fixed here something internet-wise. So we can already compile this in parallel. Maybe I enable, I wonder, do I have enabled tempf, also the best typos live on YouTube. Tempfs, here we have tempfs, then just, because you see this other I/O throughput here, so I probably need to update this VM to VirtIO 1.1 from yesterday. And for those who have not been here in the beginning, to reiterate, imagine a future where everything would be driverless, like we would have. USB has this already relatively good even for video. It's only that this company didn't do this. Of course, all the webcams are USB video protocol, just like human interface devices and storage. And this is what I meant with yesterday's video with VirtIO. If we would have all the SCSI, not SCSI, PCI peripherals, serial ATA, NVMe and such, you name it. Although NVMe is already a relatively good standard, just like serial ATA for advanced host controller interface stuff. But aside from this, I think it would be amazing if we would come back to a generation of hardware where everything is more hardware compatible and you could just boot your BSD or Linux without worrying about specific video card drivers, because they just do Vulkan or GL in hardware and stuff like this. So yeah, you see this is still deleting a couple of other builds from the other day. Let's follow the log. And then it is probably, you see how much build stuff I had accumulated there. So we have, unfortunately, wait a second, why does it still fail? Or did we, hello, wait a second, what is no? Yeah, the performance of this virtual machine is not amazing anymore. Wait a second, which log file was this? Is this still, why does this not apply when we just edited this? I thought this part should apply. Maybe we should have rediffed this more precisely and not wasted as usual. You think you are done and then you aren't. Wait a second, is this? Just this really didn't apply. Okay, then do we have the org file? We have the orig file, then blue something stone here, and probably, yeah, it should be this. Actually, I thought, why was it not listed as not applied? Did we misread the patch there? Oh, anyway, some more, no, SVN, actually, plain old diff, unified, and then orig this, and then to base RVN, no, we're not in the right. Could be nicer and have the prefix set to the directory with the version number. And then when you do it so fast, for example on YouTube videos, then you do it twice. Another lesson learned, always, wait a second, why? Again, something strange happened. Was this mouse wheel support? As this modern mouse stuff is killing me. This is not cool, really not. Really need to Google how to... Which keyboard layout am I already thinking in US keyboard layout? So much to multi-keyboard layouts, then you always mistype for typing in English versus German. Let's see if this finally applies. We can, by the way, check here how our changes look already. So this is here, indeed this is changing this to O of node name equal instead of string compare. There you see why this didn't compile anymore. The endless cleanups of the Linux kernel, cleanups and refactoring, the more the merrier. And yeah, so to take a look here on these changes, you see not the greatest patch, the more you see that how many bugs are there in one huge... Also, this is of course not the Linux kernel developer's fault per se, because this is just getting too complex of a technology. ACPI and everything, you name it. What is the syntax here now? Why is this? Are you kidding me? Probably just because. Anyway, some build time computation stuff. And yes, so this stuff is getting massive complex. For example, here ACPI, obviously all of you probably know how complex that piece of technology is. And this is also the biggest issue with writing here our educational microkernel from scratch that we are teasing you each and every video here to eventually continue with, because this is all the amazing spec of 600 pages or so to be re-implemented. And I really wish software, hardware would be more simple today, but as you see, a USB storage set virtual boundary mask to avoid SG overflows has been always had an unusual requirement for its scatter-gather transfers. So, so you see overflows apparently is an overflow error when the driver attempts to implement scatter-gather transfers of exactly what you want. Also, this is probably modem stuff, right? CDC, ACM. Yep, this comes from always refactoring, editing, tinkering, your daily stability, stable kernel, bugs and changes. Wait a second, why is this error? Oh, damn it, did this other script renamed it, damn it, what a fail. Anyway, now the patches apply and now the build can continue. What surprises me, you see there should be this really huge set standard. Here you see T2 applying these patches. Here, of course, the stable patch here, the .1, and then here our config hacks for the automatic all modular kernel, some HID tweaking that probably I need to revamp here eventually, our adaptive USB to exchange SCSI stuff, some Apple SMC LED stuff that I kept around that I wonder does it even still work. So many changes. Big 4 having here this LED as hard drive indicator that only works on older Macs, I think. Here our rediffed patch here of that, our work in progress RME hotfix here. I wonder that this changed slightly, so they apparently also touched something in that driver. Would be interesting to take a look at that actually. Someone else, what they touched there. And then here, of course, head standard that is relatively huge. Also here's a Realtek headphone for all the Lenovo, Dell, that all the other people in the world don't have properly working headset. Stereo output stuff with low frequencies filtered. Sorry for that. You can grab this patch and rediff it because Linux kernel people somehow wanted it slightly changed. And here's our infamous set standard stuff here. And yeah, set standard, this patch is relatively large, as you see, touching multiple areas. And actually surprised you see it still applies here with some hunks here, a little bit fuss, but that is fine. At least I hope that it still boots, but that is for later to find out. And yeah, so also what is slightly funny, and if I would be Linux told that this would be my kernel, I would move the sound into drivers. Really funny, that sound is so external. And also the other day I was looking for frame buffer drivers and it took me quite a while to find them again here. And they are now in video, they moved them around. I find this slightly, they have here I think GPU. I also don't quite understand why the frame buffer stuff is not in GPU but in video. Video sounds a little bit more to video capture to me. It took me quite some while of poking around here, and actually because I did this in the browser, this is also the web cloud technology, right? You do this in the browser, you don't find it, and then you resort to your terminal and unpack it to find, where is it even here, video. And yeah, here's frame buffer. They moved this around also from somewhere else. I really wonder why video is not video capturing and this is in GPU or something, but hey, it's not my monolithic kernel. What have I to say to that? Anyway, so we wanted to poke around into, actually very theoretically we could, this was it frame buffer Radeon, or was this that we just touched, or was this, there you see here also this is frame buffer versus GPU split. Slightly wonder, do they have this here in this Radeon maybe, and then yeah, so much to finding the file that we just touched. That would be fbdev8ui. Why would we not have looked into that subdirectory? Of course it's there. Where are we now? Security scripts. Sound we want to take a second, and then where's our video? Also wonder if this is in, do we not have Radeon mode setting for those chips in the meantime? Maybe. So yeah, ATI. Also wonder why this name is so funny. Anyway, so this is Radeon power management, and that is of course here. Let's click on log and see who touched this recently. Just use blah 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 replace mdelay with msleep, and apparently not that much happened here. I wonder. So this is that page that failed, that one. I wonder if we, so there you see this kind of changes. Cleanups then have this patches fail, obviously. I slightly wonder then, maybe this other patch here is, no, this is actually okay. So wait a second, maybe I have commented out too much now. If they never called and only suspense struck despite never getting called. Static analysis, yeah, static analysis doing random changes, and then we have the next breakage breaking this support even more just to change something for the sake of changing it. This means that I probably have redeffed this patch wrong. Bummer. This is why review is so vital, or is it not? Wonder, it's not a msleep. Why did this not apply then anymore? Or is this part of that here? What is this here? Except might be this somewhere. Here's also, say you see multiple random changes, and in my opinion this is a little bit too much random changes. I mean, in cleanup and refactoring, but is there not a limit of changing random things just for the sake of changing things after a decade? Hey, welcome everyone in the audience. We are mostly kind of sort of through. I only wonder, so Linux kernel update like this, I probably can, what we could actually, yeah, we should actually, but on the other hand, what I removed there was package base Linux. This probably should not compile, because actually we can check this, so that we can just check, instead of redoing everything, we can just click here on this source. And of course modern, you see modern kernel development, clicking here on cloud stuff by just checking here this, wait a second, this is indeed not commented out, so this, what have I done there? So yeah, this should probably not compile this. function not available. Why was this patch then showing me something differently? This is confusing. But wait a second, have they not... The whole thing is confusing. Have they not... No, it is 0 here. Whatever I was looking at, maybe I need to rewind my own video or just... So then let's just restore this that I apparently removed here for no good reason. Then here just without rediffing everything manually, just VI here this file, because we are great fans of manual patch editing. Read this X here, patch this in there, because why not? And let's hope that this still applies, because nothing better than doing everything multiple times. So yeah, I hope you learned something here from my random Linux kernel update. And yeah, what is your take? Are you in Linux kernel development? Do you sometimes patch there something? Do you find this? Wait a second, I have here the... Just realized I really boxed only for YouTube. Happens never when I do this alone. And when you live stream, you look in 500 million different things, and then you totally mess up here. You, speaking of messing up, totally mess up here your update. So here, 1/7 frames per second. Really, why would that be? Is this, that's this terminal? This is interesting. Why would that? Are we reconnecting? I have no idea. How is this now? Whatever is wrong with OBS, maybe it is the OpenGL fancy cool vintage retro terminal. Maybe not the best idea to stream with that, but otherwise it is not the cable internet today. So here, is this better now? I hope it is. And okay, so this is whatever I was looking. There's so much to biggest shit always happening live on YouTube. Yeah, it was, thank you Tuxitko, it was normal. Alexei complained about this earlier, not a single clue idea what OBS doesn't like today. So much to that though. For the I think usually did it not, but this is also strange that it says 6% here and in top it says 55, so something is borked here with this. Anyway, yeah, so you can't never test enough. Even if you thought you rediffed the patch correctly, you still haven't. Always double, triple check. And also, yeah, this random changes on top of being a monolithic microkernel. Not the greatest fan, as you constantly hear from me. And in my opinion, to make this here a little bit more interesting while we watch this kernel build to scroll through, by the way, we could also in parallel test here USB something. What else did I update? This was job USB utils or something. And if you build, you have seen from other, maybe you have seen from other minimalistic kernels, research, virtual machine stuff, that nowadays you can, okay, this probably explains why we haven't updated this, because Musel, not Musel, Mensen or whatever, CMake, you name it, USB, thank you for yep, no make files, so certainly Mensen or something. Thank you very much for that. If you write a new kernel from scratch nowadays, you can get away with surprisingly little, which I hope I will be able to show later this year. For example, you could start with just running it in a virtual machine, directly loading the kernel without bootloader glue, like either ELF or multi-boot kernel. We will go into more detail with that later, and also then only do drivers, for example, not do vintage IDE drivers and such, but only do virt.io that I've shown yesterday for running on all virtual machines for highest performance anyway, and then only add more drivers. So basically you need some serial stuff for console, maybe virt.io console, and or Syria something, not the biggest driver anyway, and then VirtIO block net, and yeah, certainly all the kernel infrastructure, working with the MMU, page tables, you name it, context switching, interrupts, and so on. And then maybe in a month's time or something, you have already something proof of concept working. So surprisingly, some people in the audience, I already killed here the video. I wonder a little bit why this was so crappy today. Anyway, I probably should switch over here to this Radeon external thing. Maybe we do this here on the secondary channel, because ideally I would need to, you know what, we could really do this. Maybe I've actually some business work, you know, here's a recurring theme, coding, working every day, also some text paper to fill out the recurring theme here of overworked open source businessmen. And by the way, thanks to all the customers who purchased our commercial products this week, making this 20% time YouTube streaming possible. So maybe I take here the, let's see, maybe I take here this Thunderbolt dongle hell and plug in the Thunderbolt AMD thing for higher performance. I have there still this graphic bug to look for. By the way, you could still remind your friends and families to subscribe to the secondary channel, where we have some growing, I think 84 something subscriber. The new next features on YouTube unlock with 100 subscribers, like properly naming your channel and not having some numeric channel ID. So yeah, this is also something we need to do. Maybe I can do a quick stream there on the secondary channel just for taking a look here on the AMD side. And yeah, you can, as I always say, support me, motivate me to do even more open source, because again, otherwise it is really hard to make a living, because this is a recurring theme here. Who should pay me now? There is this bug when I use at least this, but probably maybe all Radeon, or not all, also Vega and such, all AMD, formerly known as ATI cards, because when I use this AMD card RX 560D, I get here this YouTube resolution mismatch thing with 1080/80, because I think it's probably rounding the video encode dimensions there to 32 pixels. So yeah, could probably actually try to find this live on YouTube. But again, I looked already, it wasn't obviously directly obvious, but maybe we could actually theoretically give it a try. I hope you learned something. This will compile, as you know, this is some aging Intel Xeon stuff, and you know, from all the more AMD ThinkPad things are coming, and even Linus Tech Tips are amazed by the latest AMD Ryzen offerings, mobile offerings, that this Intel silicon is not aging very well, especially as larger the Linux kernel get and as slower the compilers become. And this is, by the way, I think compiling, so this is a brand new bootstrap. So this is change root into that here. This should be the very latest GCC version, also best spelled with 2 dashes, 9.1. So yeah, in case you wondered why this takes forever, all modular kernel with latest GCC on aging Intel silicon, not the best combination. And yeah, by the way, I have, by the way, this is why why do I do this YouTube streaming and trying to educate stuff. And yes, I know my format is not yet the most amazing. This is what we can do with our 20% work project here. And the more you subscribe and share, the better we can produce content, the more amazing content we will produce with scenery, coffee and background and such. And this is why I teach you how to fish, so to say. I don't give you a fish, I teach you how to fish, because we need more people to really take a look. And you see, everyone could have sent here. And by the way, thanks to that mate, one dude, totally amazing, who sent once rediffed PS3 patches. And if you are into PS3, would be amazing if you work on rediving these patches, because I cannot, as you see, I have Spark, Sun, HPPA, SGI, or I have SGI Octane to rediff also. Damn it, that is a month of work, or at least a week of work. So here, maybe I go live in the second stream. I have some other business stuff to do, but maybe I spend another 30 minutes donating of my weekend time here on this VA API, because the reason I don't use the Radeon is that I don't want to have this YouTube mismatch there, because I not really sure what YouTube is doing. YouTube is warning them that it doesn't like the 1080 input resolution. Certainly I can understand why this is not amazing. So I don't know if they make this unsharp, if they scale this. Maybe there is the last line of pixels. If they scale this, because certainly the last line of pixels is maybe not valid. And so no idea what happens there. Certainly nothing good. But yeah, this is compiling a couple of more minutes. And yeah, if you want to maybe see that in a minute. And by the way, what is really shitty, not really sure how this compares with your RX. Was this even on stream? Maybe not so much. I'm not really sure. This is also my grief with this bloody manufacturing vendor numbering. Not even really sure if this 560 is higher performance than your 540, because this is also the shitty one, the Chinese crap OEM one that has only 14 or something compute shaders. That is, you know, this D variant instead of the regular. This is also probably, so this, without the D it would have worked in macOS with the Thunderbolt. With the D, this other SKU there doesn't work in macOS because no driver match. And stream is pretty fine, no drops in 8 minutes. That is good. Anyway, so this is compiling. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, maybe I go online for this. I have to reboot to plug this, probably, at least I think I need to reboot. Anyway, I need to pull out the mini display port there. Anyway, I'm not really sure. By the way, I have a video what there also happens, a really strange thing, but maybe I position it here slightly anyway, not plug it in on YouTube. So yeah, I saved here 10 or 20 euros. Okay, so on the other hand, if I would have purchased the RX 580, it would have been significantly more power, I think. So this one is only 60 something, 65 watts or something, and I wanted this mostly for the mini ITX build testing. And if I would have gone with the RX 580, I think it would have significantly be higher power, maybe 150 watts or 120, 40 something watts from the back of my mind. And yeah, so the card, although it's a Chinese crap SKU, it works for me. Only a pity that I can't use it, at least without patching the macOS driver. Is there any reason of T2 that the comments audience that compiles without problems? Maybe not. So what problem do you have? We can either from the sites are broken, don't allow compile even glibc. Yeah, there was one issue I need to, so yeah, thank you for reminding and thanks for testing. And so the ISO on the website, this was only some, you see, this is also testing, more testing, even more testing, and the most testing. I have not realized this because I installed them, I used them, I didn't have a problem. This is only when you rebuild stuff, they also see how amazing all the Debian people always tell me everything just works. Yes, this is the situation if you just compile this and you think it works and then you get this result. I noticed this only myself in maybe testing this ITX system or something, because usually I compile on the data center forever and I do not usually recompile the glibc on my freshly installed systems. But thanks for reminding. Yes, we will spin new releases. I should do this sometime soon. Maybe next week I will have some different stuff coming up. But yeah, I should just compile new stuff and maybe I automate this. I wanted for a decade already to automate this, that we have automate a data center automatically spitting out weekly or monthly builds of everything, and of course with T2 cross-compiling, including PowerPC, Spark, MIPS, and so on. Maybe we should finally do this. But if you want to hang out, thank you so much for watching and contributing to this channel and growing channel and such. Maybe just for the fun of it and testing, I plug this beast in, fire it up, and then we could live take a look if we find finally where this code is in Mesa. Maybe we find it, maybe not, but we have anyway this stuff building in the background, so whatever. And yeah, so much for those who are new, we have this second channel for more live stuff, because I don't want to irritate the main audience. Usually people unsubscribe if I live stream too much. But anyway, totally amazing that you tune in here for Linux update, patching, testing. I tried to compile a Musel version, but okay, so the Musel version is super hard. This will, because I have not yet, but thanks for testing. how good are your coding skills, because as I said in multiple videos, the Musel stuff, especially with sealing, is not for the faint heart to bootstrap, because all the stuff is not upstream packaged nicely. The last time I did this, I had to manually tinker around quite a lot. Probably the very best thing would probably for me to make a Musel release, also Musel test ISO, because bootstrapping this is not fully automated in T2. I always had to manual tinker around, and I made live streams because this is really, even for me, I tinkered there for an hour until this bloody stuff continued to compile. But thanks for your interest. Make sure you're subscribed. We will definitely continue with this, maybe next week, but certainly in the next 2 weeks, because we have so much different stuff to come up here, also traveling and such. So by the way, I will be soon in Toronto in Canada, and if anyone in the audience in Canada, in Toronto area, wants to meet up there, drop me a note. And yeah, the reason I have not continued with Musel, if the problem was that C-Lang was not able to compile a Linux kernel, if I would have been able to build a Linux kernel, I would have immediately spun an ISO release. But because my build right now is stuck with Musel not being, C-Lang not being able to compile a Linux kernel. But yeah, these are all the projects. You see how much work everything is, even as simple as Linux kernel, 30 minutes gone. Even without YouTube streaming, it would have been not an hour, but 30 minutes or something. There you see how the time adds up here and flies by. And again, thanks for watching. And if you want to see more, maybe in a minute in the secondary channel that we try to build up for more random content here straight from the IT office.